All right, beautiful people. What's going on? All right, so this is like I said, aka Truth coming to you, episode 18, I believe.
Yep.
Um this one is gonna be a doozy, so I'm gonna take my time with this one. We're gonna touch a subject that's very sensitive to a lot of people. It's sensitive just with a simple fact. People getting wars over it, people getting fights over it. As you know, we're experiencing this now with the family. People stop speaking to relatives because of it. So I just want to first let everybody know that basically what we're talking about today is solely our opinion. This is not for somebody to take 100% to heart that we're saying that what you believe in is wrong and what we believe is right and how we believe is right. This is solely our subjective opinion on how we feel about religion versus spirituality. So it's going to be a three-part series. Today is going to be mainly focused on the subjective side of it. As I said, it's more so what people feel as though how they approach religion or how they approach spirituality, how they feel about it, and so forth. So that's all we're going to address today. And there may be some facts I might put out there, but more so it's going to be a subjective view of religion versus spirituality. And then next week is going to be the second part series, which is going to be more the objective side of it. So that's going to be more factual. That's going to be, if we were able to get a theologist or somebody that studied theology, they have a degree in theology, and facts is going to be presented. And that's basically, um, if whatever God you believe in, hardcore facts that you can actually back it up. So that's what next week's episode is going to be about. And then the third episode or third part of the series is going to be an open forum. So that means you can call in, you can email, whatever the case is, and we're just going to have an open discussion as far as religion versus spirituality. So as always, like and subscribe. We ask you to comment. We look forward to your comments, and we're really highly appreciated. So, as I always say, or belief becomes a thought, and the thought becomes your manifestation or reality. So,
In a world of envy, analyze as these guys looks to see. They clones to the naked eye, the dynamic dude. No pesticides, they organic, day and nights the podcast. In panoramic in 4K, live streaming on your airwaves. No cliche to downplay, this ain't no child's play. Twin brothers close knit bonding, they wonders of the world, they monsters. The twin Tompkins, brought on only born. They travel the world stomping at the break of dawn daily. The iron's pumping, my brain no brothers, about to bring you their life. Look no further, everybody cuss it's day and night.
I'm going to go ahead and jump in, get this thing started. So, like I said, the topic is religion versus spirituality. So, this is just a little bit of the facts that I'm going to give just to start it off. So, basically, 85% of the world's population belongs to some type of religious group. And the estimated numbers are 400,000 to 10,000 different religions in the entire world. That's a lot. So if you just sit there and think about that many religions, my personal opinion, that's why it's a lot of discord in the world, is because there's so many different practices and so many different beliefs. To me, it kind of leaves room for you to have issues with other people, because most people believe whatever they believe in is better than what the other person believes in. So if you got one group of people believing that their religion is better, or you got spiritualists believing that they're better because they're close to God and so forth, that's going to cause separation. And just again with those numbers, that's a lot of people. or a lot of religions, 10,000. So Christianity is the largest religion in the world. They said it's close to 2 billion people that practice Christianity. So I just want y'all to sit there and think about that. 2 billion, that's a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and let Mark go ahead and put his piece in it, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor and talk about, religion versus spirituality.
Okay, well, hey, first of all, I'm gonna just start by saying this is going to be touchy for me because I'm kind of in a neutral on this, and I got many of friends that are spiritual, and then some are very much Christians and believe, each of them believe in what they believe in, but they kind of come at me where I need to kind of like pick a side and choose one because I'm kind of like neutral, where I believe, I would say I know. I don't want to sit here and say I'm one of those people that I'm a true believer and I'm walking it and talking the talk like some people who eat, drink, sleep night and day, they live to it. I'd say those are the people that believe in it because they use it in everyday life. Me, I'm more, again, I know there is a God. I believe there's a God, but I'm not one that's going to speak it on a lot. So that's where I'm going to be different on this conversation, because I had a conversation the other day with my girlfriend, and she's very spiritual, okay? And she believes in God too, so she's more in the spiritual realm now versus when we grew up. She was more growing up in a way, in the church. So with me, mom and dad was very religious. We went to a Baptist church. Dad was a deacon. Mom was in a choir. So dad always quoted the Bible. Remember that. Mom too. So I'm at a point that I'm an adult. I don't speak on it like that every day. I believe it, but I'm not so like some people, they speak it and every word comes out something about God. So it's not that I'm not any more of a believer than the next person. I just believe that I'm not one of those people that speak on it all the time. So I get the frown on the face of that I'm not a believer because I don't speak it the way everybody else do. I don't quote, stuff out the Bible. So that means that I'm not religious enough or I don't believe in it. It's not that. Again, I just believe you know what you believe in and you pray every day, have a relationship with God, because I've always been told you need to have a relationship with God, not just go to church every Sunday and you think that's you doing your part. So that's pretty much, that's me now. I don't speak it every day. I don't even go to church. I have a lot of friends that try to convince me to go to church and say that, why don't you go? If you grew up like that, why don't you, go anymore? Even dad, a couple of times when I moved to San Antonio, asked me, well, why don't you go to church no more? You grew up going to church. And I would tell all my friends this, and they all pretty much said the same thing. Because I would tell them, I don't believe in going to church for the simple fact there are a lot of people, and I'm not saying everybody, but just the ones that I experienced, some of them. I want to use my words carefully because I know it's a touchy subject. Not everybody, but few tend to be, to me, kind of hypocritical where, oh, you need to go to church because if you don't go to church, again, you're not believing in God or you don't believe in any kind of religion. That's not normal. That's not good. You're going to go to hell. So I say, well, some of these people that go to church are the ones that go to church on Sunday and they go and repent and forgive me, Lord. And then on Monday, they cussing and doing everything else they've been doing during the week. And then Sunday, they feel that it's okay to go to church and act holy to thou. So I always say, why go to church? If the church is going to be like that, where you use one day out of the week to say that you believe in God, and then the rest of the week you're an asshole. So a lot of people would tell me, well, you don't go to church for the people, you go to church for the word. And I get that. I agree with that 100%. But this is my pushback on that. I agree with that to disagree, because I always ask a lot of people as believers, well, why can't you just be in church at home? They have churches now since the pandemic where they have it on TV. Or if you're a believer, you can still read the Bible and still read the word to be able to follow in faith just as much as you go to church. So my point is, why you need to be in the church to show that you're praising God or you believe in God or you're doing your part. To me, personally, if you're doing your part, you do that 7 days a week, 24/7. If you're at home, it's a day, you ain't got nothing to do. Why don't you have an hour of church by yourself? or have a friend that's your friend. I know it's called Bible study. People come over during the week. His dad used to do Bible study on Tuesdays. But the point I'm making is that was my pushback. That's the reason why I don't go to church, because I feel like if I need to hear the word, I can always open the Bible and read it. And my pushback from my friends is, well, sometimes you need to hear it from a preacher because they speak in the Lord of the word of God. I'm like, well, sometimes some of these preachers are hypocrites. And again, my personal thing is, if you gonna say or tell me to do something, you gotta walk the walk, talk the talk. You gotta drink your own Kool-Aid. Because to me, I'm not gonna validate something that's come from somebody that's telling me to do something that they're not even practicing themselves. So to me, like, yeah, I should believe in that, but why should I believe in it through you? So again, coming back to where I've started, that's one of the reasons why I stopped going to church, because I believe that you don't have to be in a church to represent God, to believe in God, and have faith in God. I just feel like that's a propaganda that people try to push, and it's separatism, like you said. People try to bully you, make you feel like you're not being a part of God if you're not going to church. But that's just my belief on that. But I ain't going to dominate the conversation. I'm going to let you come back on that, because I got a lot to say about this. But I just wanted to open it up by stating that. But I'm going to push it back to you.
All right, so I'm trying to figure out where to start. So I got the definition as far as what Google says religion versus spirituality is. So it says religion is a specific set of organized beliefs and practices usually shared by a community or group. That's what religion is. And spirituality is more of an individual practice and has to do with having a sense of peace and purpose. So, just as you said, we grew up in the church. We was in the church, almost all week. Sunday school, then you had prayer meeting on Tuesday, then was Bible study on Wednesday. So we pretty much was heavily involved in the church growing up. I don't know about you, but for me, it was always something that was off about it that just didn't sit well with me. And I don't know if you remember this, but it was this one point or this one time, and we were supposed to go to, I think it was Bermuda. And right. I remember us paying the money and stuff like that. And I think it was Sunday, we actually got to the church. And somehow we wound up not going. I think there was a rumor that the pastor stole the money.
Oh,
used the money for something else. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Yeah, I do. Now I do. Yeah.
So ever since then, I start paying more attention as far as what was going on in the church and so forth. So for me, and it's funny because when I was talking to Chris about, 2-3 weeks ago, and he sent me a text and he was like, so Uncle Matt, when are you gonna come back to Jesus or something to that effect? And or come back to church? I said, well, I graduated. He kind of laughed. And I only speak on this because it's my personal experience. And I look at it like this, like I said, we grew up in the church and so forth. I believe that there are steps in the process as far as for an individual person to get to that higher ascension as far as spirituality or closer to God or what have you. I don't believe we're supposed to be stuck in one aspect of spirituality, because religion is basically what it is. Just like I said, it's organized beliefs and practices. So to me, religion, it definitely separates people, and it doesn't allow you to progress in a way that benefits you in your walk, because churches and stuff like that, they have stuff in place. I found that more people tend to aspire to be like a deacon, the head deacon, pastor, or bishop. I think that's the highest level. No, apostle is the highest level that a pastor can get to. And that's what a lot of them do. There's this one particular pastor that I had when I was in Alaska. That was his whole goal, was to become an apostle. So he was doing certain things to keep climbing up the ladder to become an apostle. Now, of course, he still preached the word and stuff like that. And his focus was supposed to be teaching, God's word to the people. But his own personal aspiration was to become an apostle. So for me, religion is more so just like the construct of the world. Like, what's the ultimate goal as far as, living in the United States is to become rich, have a big house, and have a lot of money, or have a bag, as they say. So that separates that relationship that you're supposed to have with God, because you're putting so much focus on the natural things opposed to the spiritual things. And for me, that was always the disconnect, is the church was more so a form of natural things and natural aspirations, opposed to spirituality is more so about your walk with God, your personal relationship with him, and so forth. And it's something that you said, I think you mentioned something about as far as just having that personal relationship and not so much what someone else is telling you. And like, even in a word, it says that the church is not the physical building, it's the people. The people make up the church. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but one of his scriptures were, as long as 2 or 3 gather, then you're in the midst of church. So like, what the answer, what your question was or statement, technically you don't have to go to a church to praise or worship God, as Christians say. That's more so man's idea as far as what you're supposed to do. They took certain things from the religion of Christianity and they added their own little spin to it. And you got some people that practice dogma as far as, well, you have to do this, and if you don't do that, then you're not going to heaven, and you're basically serving the devil and stuff like that. So it's just so many different types of things that people say. For me, it, like I said, it causes separation. In the spirituality, for my own personal walk, for my own personal belief, is that has allowed me to get closer to God and allowed me to become more spiritual, is because I have that personal relationship. And like I was saying, when I was in the military and just sitting back and observing, I put a lot of my focus in praying, fasting, reading, and doing everything I could to develop that personal relationship. And that's what I was, trying to explain to Chris, is I graduated from that whole church aspect of it. And then just learning more about like the universe and stuff like that, and everything is connected. So that allowed me to come out of just being pigeonholed in that whole, you just got to go to church and, you got to do exactly what the preacher says and so forth. So you go ahead and say what you got to say.
Yeah, like I said, I'm glad this is a 3-part series, because like I said, I go on and on. It's just so many different dynamics of this, to where on layers you gotta unpeel back. Because again, I don't want to come across as attacking people, or again, like you said from the top, this is just my opinion through my lens. This is how I see it. Like my girlfriend, I keep saying my girlfriend, Felicia. I guess I can say her name, not like I'm hiding your name or nothing. But Felicia, she's, again, very spiritual. We was talking the other day, and I said, religion is one of the hardest subjects to talk about, because like you said, it starts wars, arguments. It's such a sensitive subject, because everybody had their own beliefs. So she was giving me her spill, and then she was like, well, how come, you grew up in the church and you're not doing the things you used to? And I said, because again, I got older, I've been through life and I've seen things. So I'm a little bit more questioning things. And again, to kind of go backwards, again, I respect people to go to church, because I told her this in a nutshell, and I'm gonna keep going about what I'm talking about. I told her, because she was talking about God and how the belief and why different people have different beliefs. And the question I asked her, or statement I said, was, why is it that everybody's trying to force the other religion on the other person? Again, my motto is to each his own. Regardless how you feel about it, if you don't agree, you don't agree, but you shouldn't have to make somebody agree with who or what you believe in, because the key word in all this, and I told her, to me, is belief. That's the whole gist of what you believe in, and that's on all aspects of anything in life. Anytime you believe in something, you're gonna put more into it. It's gonna mean more to you because you believe in it. So whether you believe in spirituality or if you're more of a Christian and you're going that route, that's you. You know, teach his own. Do you? As long as you don't come in my world and try to, you know, blemish what I believe in or try to say mine is not good as yours. I said, I think that's what the problem is too many people try to force religion on each other. Again, you don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it, but you at least should respect. If you ain't hurting nobody, you're doing what you do to believe, to follow through in life, then go do you. And I'm gonna use this concept because I'm a trainer, and my analogy is gonna be the concept is the same, not the actual thing, y'all. So if y'all hear me say this, I'm not trying to compare apple with oranges. I'm just talking about the concept. Personal training, you know this, Matt. It's been years. Is cardio versus weightlifting. Anybody that really know anything about what I'm talking about, and weight training is this thing that people believe that the best way to lose fat is do a lot of cardio. And then the school I went to, my teacher was telling us that weight training is the best way to lose fat. Now, there's scientifically been proved that both works, but there's some trainers, I know friends that do nothing but cardio for their people. I do nothing but strength training, and a little bit of cardio to help my clients lose weight. So we've been back and forth, my fellow trainer saying who's better at training to help their client lose weight. So the point I'm making is, so on the religious thing, the same thing. It may not be your belief, my belief may not be cardio, but if it works for you and your clients, then I'd be like, you know what, you do you, but I'm not gonna force you to do weight training if that's what you don't believe in. If you're getting results from your client with your cardio, then you're gonna do you're gonna stick to what you know. And just for me, same thing. If the weight training works for me, then I'm gonna stick to it. And that's kind of how I look at the religion. If it works for you and it ain't hurting nobody else, it shouldn't matter. But I just feel like this is where we at. That's why I don't try to talk about this too much, because you could be in a room for hours. And you know this, man, if you hard set on something, what you, keyword again, you believe in, you're never gonna change the other person's mind. It's literally back and forth, like you said. You're trying to make the other one feel like what you know is more important or is more truth. Even if you have facts, you're still gonna try to make the other person understand that what you're saying is true. So to me, that's where I just a firm believer, stick to what you know. If you're a more spiritual person, like you said, you graduated, so you went to the next level. So you at that point where you can believe in that. The other person haven't got there yet, and they don't believe it, so that's why they don't see what you see. So that's just how my lens, that's how I see when it comes to the debate with spirituality and religion. Now, I'm gonna get another part, Matt, and I'm gonna kick it back to you. So I have a lot of pros with people. I call this, and I told Felicia this the other day, and it's a friend of mine, buddy of mine. He's real religious. I'm doing this because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you a story about him being so religious. So I was telling Felicia the other day, to me, you gotta be careful with both. Because you got some people that use it as a fad. We in this era, like Felicia said, and I think you said it too, we're in awakening. We're in a sense where everybody's awakening and seeing what's going on. I said, well, that's true. But some people was going riding the wave. Oh, I'm so spiritual. Are you really spiritual, or are you just riding it because we're in this era where a lot of people is awakening, a lot of people is gravitating to spirituality or being more religious or Christianity. So some people saying it just to be saying it, but they're not really even practicing it. So this is what drives me crazy. I'm like, if you're not into it, don't speak on it. Like me, I don't speak on neither one because I don't ride one more than the other. I think I would lean more towards being more free-spirited, spiritual than saying I'm very a Christian or religious. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't walk around talking it every day. So that's why I say I'm more neutral. People talk about it, I give you my 2 cents, but I'm not gonna be one in there trying to convince the room which to believe. Now, I'm gonna go to my man Arthur to make a point about people using it and kind of abusing it, but they're not really believing it. Now, this guy, I ain't gonna say his name, he a partner of mine. He was telling me how he used to be a drug addict, and I respect him. He said he changed his life because he was so bad doing everything he shouldn't have been doing. And he's like, I found God. So, God, you need God in your life, man. He keeps telling me you need to go to church, man, because if you don't go to church, you don't know the word, and you don't really, you're not really saved, and you're walking around committing a lot of sins that you shouldn't be doing because you're not getting the word from God. So you need to put God in your life. And I said, that's true and all that, but I don't need to go to church. Again, if I need that, I look in a book, read it. He said, well, you may not understand it. You need the preacher to speak the word. I said, well, that's true. But if I tell you one thing and I'm talking to you, you can interpret it the way you want. I believe people want to hear what they want to hear. I could say the sky is blue, and tomorrow you could look at listeners, thought I said something totally different. So you could be the same way in church and listen to the preacher and interpret it totally different from what he was giving. So I said, I get it, but you can't always say that. That's the reason why you need to go to church. So here's the story I'm gonna tell you about this guy. Again, I respect you for what you say you are, but I'm more of an action dude. Like, I'm gonna watch you more than what you say. So again, he's God, you need to do this. Like, he got a raise. Like, I was like, man, congrats, man. You worked hard for that. He said, nah, it wasn't me, it was God. God got me this raise. I'm like, okay, man, good. You didn't put no work in, it's all God, I got you. Right? So everything's God. Again, I respect people who does that. Everything's thank the Lord, praise. I say that too, but not for everything. But this dude was God. So he was telling he's a smoker, right? He smoked cigarettes. So he's like, yo, man, I'm gonna stop smoking cigarettes because God told me to, and it's not doing nothing. I'm hurting my body. I said, you're exactly right, man. I said, on the science side, you're killing yourself slowly because you're smoking, you're putting all that chemicals in your body, and it's not good for you. I know, but God told me, so I'm gonna stop doing it. I said, okay. And I said, now how long has it been that you've been smoking? He said, I've been smoking for like 20, 30 years. And he was all proud of himself. I said, that's good. He said, I stopped smoking for 4 days. I said, oh man, see, that's a journey. You starting that process. No, that wasn't me, that's God, man. God got me in this process. I said, okay, God got you doing that. So I asked him, I said, so are you able to go outside and smoke a cigarette? Because they have outside at work where all the smokers go. Mm-hmm. And he goes outside. I was like, yeah. I said, are you sure you want to be out there with all those smokers and you don't get like a relapse, or you want to, fall off and grab a cigarette because you're around it? To me, that's the ultimate test for you. Because if you can avoid smoking a cigarette around a bunch of smokers, then I think you're on the right path. Nah, man, I got God on my side. I said, okay. So I'm not laughing at it. I'm just laughing because what I'm about to say. So a week goes by. I look out the window. I'm in the cafeteria. I look out the window. This motherfucker sitting outside. And I knocked on the window. Hey! I just threw my hands up. What happened, bro? I thought you said you were going to stop smoking. You said God had your back. I know, man. I couldn't help it, man. But I got stressed in my life. I'm going through a divorce, and gave me this whole spill. And I started laughing. I said, but you told me God had your back, man. You got to believe in it and stay on that journey. I said, it's going to be hard, but you got to stay focused. Nah, man, I can't do it, man. I got to have my cigarette. So the point I'm making out of all this, that was one. I'm going to give you another one, Matt, and I'm going to kick it back to you. Then the other thing is he's about 40-something. Now, it's this young, he's married. Always talk about his wife, and she was sprung out and how they are recovering drug addicts. He's like, yeah, man, I'm fighting for my wife because she's still doing me wrong, but God got my back. But he's steady looking at all these other girls in there. And I'm like, bro, aren't you so religious? And you say you're supposed to look, and that's fornication, because he keep telling me how all these girls be trying to flirt with him. And I said, damn, man, well, you ain't gonna do nothing. He said, nah, man, I'm a married man. God don't want that. That's in the Bible, bro. So I'm like, okay, you go in that Bible route again. So then one day he saw this sister girl, that started working there young, 21, 22. And he's like, look at her, man. You see her trying to flirt with me? I'm like, why you say that? You see how she walked up and asked me for some candy or something? I started laughing. I said, that don't mean she likes me, man. He said, yeah. I said, well, she do. What you gonna do? Again, I can't do that. God won't allow me because I'm a married man. So the next thing, 2 weeks go by, he's over there with her. I was like, what's going on, man? What, y'all starting to talk? He's like, yeah, man, but she's bad. She's young, but she's immature. She told me how she sleep with all these guys. I was like, for real? I said, it's a good thing you married. You ain't trying to mess with her. He's like, no, I got her number. So I was sitting there like, what? After all that about God, this and that, might get her number. This is what he said. I'm not lying. He goes, because God wants me to help her. I got to bring God in her life. I was like, okay, but aren't you married? Isn't that kind of looking like you're flirting? He said, nah, man. I'm trying to help her with God. I said, she asked you for help, or you just think you're gonna bring it on her because you have him in your life. Just you gotta spread the word, and she needs it. I said, are you sure you ain't trying to hit it and quit it on the slide, using God as your little speech or little kickoff line or whatever? He's like, nah, it ain't like that. Long story short, he's divorcing his wife, and now he's with an old girl. So I said, oh wow, you was really talking about God, huh, man? And he's like, nah, it ain't even like that, man. My wife is doing me wrong, and this girl is the one. And I'm like, okay, but are you divorced? And he's like, no. I said, well, isn't that, according to the Bible, still adultery? Even though y'all separated, but y'all not legally separated. Now, you can learn it the legal way y'all separated, excuse me. But still, deemed by God, if you want to use the Bible, you're still fornicating because you're messing with somebody and you're still a married man. So the point I'm making out of all this, the reason for these two stories, is it bothers me with people like that speak it and say how religious they are, but when they do things, it's some kind of excuse for it, or it ain't like that. So don't use God and say you're religious. If you still like me, I'm doing stuff. I ain't saying I'm the best guy. I ain't saying I'm the worst guy, but I'm not walking around quoting the Bible and then act like I'm a saint and then still doing stuff bad that I should be doing. Now, again, I'm not justifying it, but if I'm an asshole, I'm gonna be an asshole Sunday through Sunday. Not asshole Monday through Saturday, and Sunday I claim that I'm a saint and then go back being an asshole the rest of the week.
Right.
So that's why I was trying to tell my guy is, if you're gonna be like that 100, but don't try to be a hypocrite. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry, but go ahead, man.
But basically those two stories, I won't say it proved my point, but it kind of proves the difference between religion versus spirituality. Because the whole aspect is exactly what that dude represented. That's someone that goes to church, or in his case, someone that speaks about it, but don't have a relationship. You ever meet somebody where they say they talk to this person and he's like, damn, they must really know that person. They must hang out with them all the time.
Right.
And come to find out, they don't know anything about him. They know him from a distance. They might speak to him every now and again. Hey, what's up, Bob? What's up, man? How you doing? Yeah, just like general conversation, but they don't have a personal relationship. So he probably had the intention of wanting to do better and change, but because he didn't have that personal relationship, he didn't have the discipline to be able to stop, because the only thing he had was just the facade of a relationship. Yeah. And that's the big difference for me between religion versus spirituality. You have somebody that go to church religiously every day. They do all the things that you're supposed to do, to pay their tithes and all that. But they're far from God because they don't have a personal relationship. And that's where spirituality is different, because you're putting all the natural things or the ritual things to the side, and you're not focused on that. Like I said, when I was in Iraq and I was deployed, that's when I got close, because I was fasting every day, I was praying, and those are the things that bring you closer, because you're sacrificing yourself and things of the world to gain the knowledge and that personal, intimate relationship with God. And that's the difference. So that's how I view it.
Right.
And I want to speak on something you said. Like, the one thing I don't want to do is to say that somebody don't have a relationship with God, because no one knows but that individual person. So, but I'm like you, it kind of irritates me when I hear somebody say, well, God spoke to me. And especially athletes, that's like the biggest time to really piss me off, when they be interviewing. It's like, I just want to thank God. Well, so what made you get that 85-yard touchdown? It was nothing but God. It was all God.
Right.
That irritates the hell out of me, because it don't make sense, for one. Like, you had to do something. You had to get open or do a fake or something to get to the point to get the ball, whatever the case is. But my personal experience, and I don't know if I told you everything that happened when I was in Afghanistan and that suicide bomb went off. Now, this is the truth. I think I told you this, and I tell everybody this story because it's something that personally happened to me. I think most people look at me like, man, this dude's full of shit. But I'm just going to say it anyway. Like I said, I was praying and fasting when I was in Afghanistan. I was reading and doing everything. So that particular day, when I was out there at the gate and I was recording because the vehicle was coming in, they were supposedly beating up the Afghan National Army and not allowing our vehicles to come inside the compound. So we was there to just have a military presence and to make sure that they weren't doing that. So what I did is I had my video camera and I would record everything that was going on. And this particular day, now when we were trained, we was always training to where it's like they have kids to simulate, the actual environment once we're there. And everything that we was trained on literally happened. So they had kids to distract us because what the kids do is you're focused on them opposed to paying attention to what's going on around you.
Right.
So I'm sitting there recording, and I promise you, it was an audible voice, and it said "move." And I turned around and looked. I said, "Who the hell said that?" I'm thinking there's somebody out there. It was nobody around me. So I just started recording again, and it was again "move." I didn't hesitate. I wasted no time. Closed my camera. Went back to the Humvee. And the Humvee was facing the outside of the compound. So I left the door open and I had my interpreter behind me. As soon as I walked behind the door and the door is up on me and the suicide bomb went off at the gate. That's why I'm a real stickler on time. And I always say 10 minutes because I wouldn't be here if I would have stayed over there. Because 10 minutes from the time I left to the time I came back to the vehicle when that suicide bomber detonated the vehicle. So the point I'm trying to make is, if you're intimate and you definitely have a relationship with God and you're more spiritual and not religious, things like that, you can hear from God and God will speak to you, whereas it can save your life or whatever the case is. So when people say that God spoke to me, or I do believe that. Certain people I don't believe because I watch them and I watch their lives. And like you said, the way you walk is going to determine if it's true or not. So when certain people say it, I just be like, yeah, okay.
Right.
But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is in instances like that, and some people may argue with me. I'm not saying that people that go to church don't have a close relationship with God. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But I'm saying for the most part, because the way church is set up, it's kind of hard to have a personal relationship because you're so involved with doing the things of the church. It's more like a job, and some pastors actually get paid because it's like a job. Right. So how do you have, if you're not doing your personal relationship at home, you get children at home, you got a wife, or if you don't have the church as your business and you got another job, when do you truly have that time to develop that personal relationship? So that's why I look at it as spirituality, not saying one is better. I just feel as though spirituality is going to get you closer because it's that close, intimate relationship. And when you're doing the things of the church, you're so heavily involved with that than actually having that relationship. If that makes sense.
No, it does. I was just sitting here reminiscing about, and I'm kind of, bless you, Mom, but I was thinking about Mom and how she was. And I think how some people are that I know that are like that. And I think you should remember Mom would be like, well, if it's went for Sunday, like Sunday was like the holiest day, you can't do no wrong. How can you be cussing on Sunday? Or you said this is Sunday, is the day of the Lord. And that's again where it's not funny, but it kind of trips me out. Again, I respect that some people are so much of believers that they feel like Sunday is that holy day to where you should be a saint damn near. Again, I respect that, but I'm like, to me, it should be 24/7, 7 days a week. And of course, you do got some, that's what they call Bible thumpers, where they live it. It is almost to the point where it's so much where it's like, take time out, where every day of the week, 24/7, every second, they speaking on the Lord, and they constantly one for God, or or God made you do this, or the devil. You know, mom used to say that ain't nothing but the devil talking to you. So I think at the end of the day, we all have our beliefs. Now, it's kind of a question and a statement at the same time. And I said the same thing to Felicia because we was talking about it the other day. And like you just stated, the spiritual part of you is more personal and more relationship. So what is the difference when somebody say they real religious? But I'm just saying, not saying one's right or wrong, but, and I'm sure you met people that say they're religious, but they saying the same thing that a spiritual person would say. If that makes sense what I'm saying, like you can have a relationship with God, you walk it, you drink it, you eat it, everything. But then they say, I'm just really religious. Then you have the next person to say, I'm very spiritual, but they speaking about the same thing, in other words. So that's the thing I told Felicia. So why should it matter if, in a sense, y'all speaking the same thing, just in a different language? Like you're speaking in your language, meaning your spirituality. And I know what you say about the definition of religion, but I mean, again, it is some people that deem themselves very religious that say some of the same things I hear from somebody that says they're very spiritual. So that's why I was like, at the end of the day, again, I'm always, and I believe in it. That's why I keep speaking on it. Be you. If you're not hurting anybody, now I always believe in this. You can educate somebody, you can enlighten somebody. You can give people word of advice as far as I would go. You know, but I wouldn't try to force it. Not force it, I shouldn't say force it, but try to get them to believe what you're saying is the way to go. It's almost like a salesman. Like you're trying to sell yourself or sell this belief on this other person. And then that person's trying to sell their belief on you instead of just saying to each other, you know what? I don't really feel what you're doing, but I respect what you're doing. We can still be mutual and agree to disagree. That's just how I am with it. Like that's just my point of view. But again, it's just crazy because I have so many friends that's some are both spiritual and very, you know, religious, or they say they Christian and all of that. And it's just crazy how they can sit in the same room, but they will never agree with each other. But they both believe in what they believe in. So it's crazy to me. But I mean, there's so many stories I can tell you. That's why I don't want to take the whole time up, because it sounds like I'm kind of bashing people for what they believe in. But that's my own belief. So I guess you could say he has his own belief. I'm just not putting a label on it. I'm more of a action person. Again, your actions going to speak louder than whatever you say. Like if people think that I'm a religious person, I can tell I'm very religious. But if you watch me, you can probably see how I am more than what I tell you. You know, like the other day when I first met Felicia, she said the thing that got her is I prayed over the food before I ate it. And you know, that was growing up. That was something we had. Now, I don't know how you was after we grew up, but I know being down here with Jay, he'd get pissed off if I didn't pray over the food. What are you doing, man? You better pray before you eat. You know, so I kind of piggyback off of that. I don't make nobody do it, but I always pray over my food. It's funny how people look at you literally and be like, why are you praying over your food? I said, you're supposed to always bless your food before you eat it. You know, and they say, why? But you still going, if you get sick, you're going to get sick. You know, some ignorant person said that one time. And what's the difference? You know, so it's certain things that I believe in that I do, but I don't go around telling people, you need to pray over your food before you eat and try to give them an education story on it. Like if they ask me, then I tell them. But that's one example on how I'm saying lead by example. Like some people, and it's funny, I'm not kidding you. After I did that at lunch at work, I'm not kidding. It was like 2 dudes that started doing it. And they just looked at me the first time and thought I was the weirdest dude. I thought they was weird because they never seen nobody pray over their food. So it's funny to me that I don't walk around, even Arthur, I said his name, but even my man, the religious dude, he don't even pray over his food. And you know, that's why I say it's funny how people tell you this is what you should do by God, but you know, some people don't even do the actions of it. So that's why I say at the end of the day, is if you walk the walk, you'll see it. You'll see that person. That's a caring, giving, you know, person. You can tell their spirit. You can feel that their spirit is pretty spiritual. You know what I mean? So that's just my lens, how I see it, and my lens, I should say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. And this is something I wanted to tell Chris. I was really hoping he would come on the show. And it's funny because I see a lot of him. I see a lot of me in him. And I remember when I was on that walk, and I was like him. I was cutting people off, and you know, I was preaching and doing this and that.
Yeah, I remember.
And now, and now that I'm older and I matured more, I know now that I don't have to do that because, like you said, your walk is what's going to lead people to God or whatever belief it is that you have. Because a lot of times when you speak on something and you're still in the process of being made. So I don't think anybody had bad intentions. I think some people really want to be better, and they truly are seeking God. But because you're still in that transformation phase, you don't see what other people see. The only thing you know is, well, this is what I believe, this is what I'm doing. So you think you're doing the right thing. And people are judgmental. They're going to look at you and judge you and be like, well, how are you telling me to do this and you're still doing that, and not stopping to think, well, this person is just going through a transformation, so they haven't gotten there yet. So the thing that I would tell Chris or anybody is just go through the process. But it's hard because when you're going through it, you're so happy, you're overzealous, and you want to just go tell everybody. But your true walk is what's going to lead people. And this is a true story. This is not me trying to hype myself up or to gas my head up, but it's the truth. I remember when I was in, I think it was Afghanistan or Germany, I was coming back. I think it was coming back from Germany to the States, and we was going to Fort Stewart. And I promise you, I did not know any of these people. I just got there. I came in the orderly room, and this dude looked at me, and he started calling me the man of the cloth. I said, what does that mean? He said, I just something about you, the way you carry yourself. I can tell that you a man of God and stuff like that. So the point I'm trying to make is you don't have to speak on it, because who you are is automatically going to show. Like somebody's going to say it. And that's what you're kind of alluding to is you don't have to always speak on it in order for people to see who you truly are. But I think that's just a growing stage that some people will have to go through. And like that's where I believe Chris is right now. And you know, he just has to travel the world and continue to experience life, and then he'll see how I see right now. I don't have to say anything because who I am is going to be known. Now, right now, I'm going through my other transformation as far as like with metaphysics and stuff like that, and I'm still kind of had that overzealous attitude or energy to where I want to tell people and stuff like that. But I still reel myself back in, like, you know what? I don't have to do that because my life and how I live is going to be the true testimony where people look at and see, okay, what he's speaking is real and is true. So I don't even have to say anything. But I think that's the most important thing that some people should look at and practice. But I want to go way back when you first started talking. You was talking about, you said it was like a question and a statement. When you was asking about if the person that's religious is doing the same thing, kind of sort of with the person that's spiritual, what's the difference? And it's kind of like what I was saying before. It's just that one, your walk is going to be different. The way you talk to people, the way you treat people is going to be totally different from somebody that's just speaking on it. Because again, when somebody's just speaking on it, that's just, to me, that's my opinion, that's the religious aspect of it. Because a personal relationship, like I said, there are people that have a personal relationship that's in church. And I'm not saying that. I don't want anybody out there believe that I'm saying that it's not possible to have a personal relationship with God if you in church. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying on a macro side of it, I think there's more people that don't, because everything that goes into it, because it's a business. Church is a business. So like I said, if you're working all day and you're not putting in that time, personal time, most people believe just going to church, like you were saying, well, how are you going to talk like that on Sunday? They think because they do that,
Right.
that's what's keeping them, and
Mhm.
because they're doing things religiously, that they're good.
Mhm.
And they, like I said, they have no personal relationship with God. Now,
Right.
this is what I always get people, how I can tell a difference. And I'm not gonna call out any names. There's particular people that I know that stress a lot. I said somebody that's truly have a relationship with God, and if you truly believe the word, you will never stress, and you won't be worried about stuff that's happening. Because if you truly had that relationship, you'll know. That's just like, just look at it on a natural sense. Like you
Yeah.
have a partner that you know with no doubt, I can call him up. I know he got my back. Anytime you
Mhm.
need something, you don't even have to second guess it, because that
Right.
personal relationship you have with them, you know that he's going to be there for you, or she's going to be there for you. If you don't have that, if you sitting there like, oh my God, I got another damn bill I got to pay, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Then you don't
Right.
have no relationship with God, because if you truly do, and it says this in the word, and I'm paraphrasing, you don't fret over anything. I got you.
Right.
Whatever you want, just ask. So why
Mhm.
in the world would you be stressed out? You shouldn't be
Right.
stressed out.
Mhm.
That's what the world tell you, that, oh no,
Yeah.
you're going to always have problems. That's not true.
Right.
I'm the furthest from that.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if I told you this, but when I
Yeah.
went to Afghanistan, when I was in Christianity, I went over there with an attitude. I said, okay, God, you said you got me and you protect me. I'm coming back. And I was over there so free, because I believed it
Yeah.
arrogantly. Because I'm like, if you telling me that you got me and you're
Right.
my protector, then why should I be over here scared? Why should I be worried? So for me, that's how I know if somebody truly have a personal relationship. And I think that's
Right.
just my opinion, how you can really tell the difference between a spiritual person and a religious person. Because spiritual person know with no doubt, I'm good because God got me. That's
Right.
my best friend. But if you're just religious and you're just doing stuff by the, going through the motions, and you're just doing it out of formality,
Right.
to me, that's the difference between religion and spirituality. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'll be done. Now, on the spiritual side, you got to be careful with people too, because like now, especially here in Atlanta, you get these people, like you said, they claim that they're spiritual and they're far from spiritual. There are so many people trying to tap in, especially on Instagram. I don't know if it's happening to you, but it irritates the hell out of me. They come across, the universe spoke to me and your energy reached out to me and you got X amount of stuff coming to you, and the universe told me that you got like, what? Seriously? Or if you just pay me $100 and I can do this, I'm like, come on.
Exactly.
So it's for both sides. You got the religious that's like that, and you got the people claiming to be spiritual that's not even close to being spiritual.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like people riding the wave, so it's crazy. But now I'm gonna ask you this, Matt. This is about Chris and you, and something that Jay told me when you was going through your phase, and you was saying, you remember this, I'm sure, you saying that you was practicing to be a priest, a minister, and you was on that path. And then you and Jay had y'all little falling out and y'all weren't speaking, right? You recall that, right? So basically what I'm trying to say is, and then Deanna told me the other day that Chris got on her about her choice of lifestyle, and he's gonna pray for her and come on back. I'm gonna wait for you to get back to where you should be. And then she said something to me and it made me think. She's like, wasn't Uncle Matt going through that and Uncle Jay? I said, yeah. And then Jay, I remember Jay telling me Matt's going through that phase where it's all about God, because Jay went through it too. He was man of the Lord and freaking and God bless, and then he said he's gonna get through it. And this is my question. Since you ex-military, tell me if you feel like this is truth, any truth behind this. Because I say there's two types of people that find the Lord or get real religious quick. I'm wondering if you know the other one. One is military. They say a lot of military guys usually go in and find God while they're in there before they get out. And there's another type of guy that usually find the Lord when they in where they at before they come out. So it's military is one, and they usually say men that go to jail or prison or two. And they always show that in movies. I know it's a movie, so it's kind of entertainment, but it's some truth to that a lot of guys go in and they find the Lord and they get real religious before they get out of jail. Because I actually worked with an ex-con, and he told me that how he went there and found God and got one with God and became, and I get it, because you in a place where you have to find something to believe in, to hold on, to get you through whatever you're going through. And a lot of guys that have been in prison usually get real educated. They always say they go in there and read a lot, because your options of what you can do is limited. So if you really want to get the right path, they go in and find God before they come out. So that's basically what I'm saying. That's a statement, but you tell me, do you feel that's truth to that as far as the military aspect, with men going in and going down that path at some point about getting real religious before they actually get out of the military?
No, I definitely think that's a stereotype, because everybody going through the military don't experience that. If that was the case, then every single person would. I just really believe that it's individual based. And I don't know if I ever told you the story. It's a true story. Now, when I first got in the military, I was not even close to on that path. We was in Germany, and I forget who it was. Somebody, I think, was our next door neighbors. They told us about the church they was going to. And so they invited us to go to church. So we went to church, and I'm sitting back, and like I do, I observe. And I was like, okay, I'm not feeling this, because it was apostolic church. So that's where they do a lot of like speaking in tongues, and it's not for somebody that's never experienced it to experience it for the first time.
Right.
So I was kind of hesitant, and Tam was actually going before me, and she got baptized before I did it, and that's a true story. So she went up to the altar, and she was being prayed on by the pastor or whatever. And so she called me up there, basically, and that's how I got baptized. Like, I didn't want to go. I wasn't willingly going myself. I went up there because she called me up there, and then it was like forced on me. So I think that's why in the beginning, I never gravitated to it, because it wasn't from my heart. Now, once I got into it, and because I'm that type of person, I put, 100% in anything that I'm doing, I actually started reading and stuff. Now, I put the emotion into it as far as like the intellect and stuff like that. But as far as the spiritual part of it, the heart of it, in the beginning, I didn't. But not to go off the question, I think it's true for some people, but honestly, no, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think it's the individual based thing. Because I know a whole bunch of people that in the military that didn't even go close to a church. So I wouldn't say that. Now, prison, I think more so, but military, no.
I mean, I don't know. That's why I asked, because again, I'm on the outside. That was something, I ain't gonna lie. I used to think that because Jay went through it, then you went through it, and then now you're saying Chris is going through it. So it makes a mind wonder, and I'm not, again, of course, not the whole military, but I mean like a small percentage. And I think maybe it's the ones that's on that fence of good that has that relationship already going in, because they had a foundation set growing up. So once you're in there, you just reach through it more, because you're in a situation where you're trying to embrace it, because the outcome you don't know. You in the military, but like when the war started, you believe you're coming back safe, but it's still an unknown territory. So I think you try to embrace something to believe in to get you through that process. You know what I mean? So that, and then another thing I was going to speak on as far as belief. Again, I'm keep falling back to believe in what who you God is, because while you was talking, I was thinking about when you speak on something, there's some people that I know that say, my mom used to say this, just pray, put it in God's hands, and don't worry about it. When you were speaking earlier about people worry about stuff, but if you really believed, you wouldn't. I think that's in the nutshell the gist of it. Because like you said, if you have faith in something, you know that it's going to back you up. That's the whole point of believing in it. So I think it's some people out here that drives me crazy that say, oh my God, I'm going to pray tomorrow so I can get this outfit. You know, it's like, to me, it's like, come on now, you can't pray for everything. You know, some things you got to put in the work. Now, this is one thing I think Denzel said it, because he always, at this time, he has a lot of quotes. I used to always save his quotes when he does a TikTok. And he said the one thing he always prayed for, and I'm a firm believer, so I'm not saying, oh, what he said is true. I just say the same thing, is if you're going to pray on it, pray on asking for the strength. Give me the strength. Give me the knowledge. Give me the will to keep going. Because to me, that's at the end of the day, that's what's going to get you through it. Like you said, know the confidence that you're going to get through whatever it is. But like if you had stressing and like you trying to get a promotion, please, Lord, give me this damn promotion and I need the extra money. You know, some people pray like that. I'm like, Lord, just bless me. Please give me the strength and have the courage to push through and let me maintain this to get through this process. To me, that would be probably, I don't know if that's the right way, because people say it's the right way to pray or wrong way. To me, if you pray for the strength, the power, the will, the knowledge, I think that'd be a blessing as well. So, I mean, that's to kind of just go back on what you were saying, where people don't believe in something when they say they pray for it. I say pray for that strength. I always, every morning, I pray like, Lord, give me the strength to get through this day. Give me the will, push through this whole week. And then I leave it at that. The power, glory, amen. And I cut it short. You know, like when what's the name say the blessing, I'll be like, thank you for this food, Lord. Thank you for blessing us. Thank you for us seeing another day to have a meal. Amen. I'm like, cut it short, you know, to the point. So I think as long as you do your own way of praying, I guess at the end of the day is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, you got to believe it and just let it go, you know. But it's just some people that believe so much where they pray for everything. And I think, is it really supposed to be like that? Like, you got to pray that the sun comes out tomorrow, like, you know, because you want to go out to the park. You know, I used to be that guy. So that's why I'm saying that also. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I believe at the end of the day, though, belief is where it's at. And that's no matter what you do, as long as you believe in it, you know, that's all that should matter. But unfortunately, we're at a point where even with that belief, people believe that what they say is more than the other. So sometimes belief can get you in trouble because it's making you stubborn, you know? So, but I digress. That's, you know, most of what I had to say, but.
Okay.
Anything else you want to tap on or?
Man, like I said, we could be talking for hours, but unfortunately we can't. Yeah, there's more I want to talk about. It's not going to be on this episode, but the next two episodes, probably the third one, I'll probably dive a little bit more into what it is I want to talk about, because I just want to try to keep it on this agenda that we have as far as with the subjective side.
Okay.
So, and go ahead.
I was going to say, it's another one that I want to tap on. Maybe we can continue into the next episode, is as far as belief in religion on when it comes to dating. Some people believe if you're not religious or following God, I can't date you, or you shouldn't date someone that's not religious as you. Do you deem that to be right, or can you really have a relationship with somebody that don't have a relationship with God? Because I've met women in the past that literally told me, oh, you're not following God, or you don't go to church. I'm sorry, I just can't date you because you're not on the level I'm on. So I respected it, you know, but I'm like, just because I don't go to church don't mean you can't date me. But I just wanted to tap on that as far as on that. I think everybody should have some kind of guidelines or you know, stipulations on what they should have, because again, that in a sense that makes sense. If you're dating somebody, you're real religious or spiritual and they not, it's going to be conflict at some point, because you're trying to show them a side that you believe in, they don't feel it or agree with it. There's going to become that detachment. So I think that's a good aspect of, you know, of it too, is relationship wise. So maybe that's the problem with some people, relationships don't work, is because one is more than the other on beliefs. And that's when they tend to come into a lot of conflict. You know, what do you feel about that as far as dating? Should both of y'all be on that same level, or one should be at least into it some kind of way, at least believe in it to a certain extent?
It's funny because the Christian term is being that's called being unevenly yoked.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that it should be part of it. And I mean, it's hard because from a woman's perspective, I think it'll be different from a man. Because from a woman's perspective, the man is supposed, well, nowadays it's different. The man is supposed to be the head and a leader. So if he's not being led by God or higher, you know, spiritual being or whatever, then how can he truly lead you and be that head and stuff? So from a woman's perspective, I think it's a little bit different from a man, because from a man, I would want somebody to be have some knowledge of it, because we're supposed to be teachers anyway, and how I lead and how I, you know, carry my life out, she's going to eventually look at it and like, okay, this is definitely somebody I want in my life. So in that way, you'll still be kind of bringing her towards God. So if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would be as important as it would be for a woman, but I think it's still necessary, because you don't want to just be totally like, you're talking about spiritual things or religious things, and she's sitting there like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't know anything.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about. Then I could see it could be, you know, an issue there, but I don't think like, no, I can't date you just because you're not my same on my spiritual level or religious. I don't necessarily believe that, because that could be the best person for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she could be the most feminine woman. You know, she take care of the kids and she covers everything. But because she's not religious or she's not spiritual, you're like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the blessing, is you bringing that aspect out of her,
right,
where she can actually grow into that, and then you're good, because now you got the total package. So that's how I see it. But I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, I mean, it answered it. So I guess in a sense, it would be good to have it, even though you, like you're saying, female ladies might have a tendency more, but I think overall, just relationship wise in general, it should be somewhat balanced. Each should have a little for it to work, because like with Felicia, she's very spiritual. Again, I'm on that level. Like I told her, I said, I'm into it. I'm not where she at. Like, she up there like you. So I told her, just because I'm not there yet, because I asked her, would you feel like we could be one as a couple because you on that level and I'm not? And she's like, no. She said the same thing. She said, I see that you do have some believing in God in you, and you're just not on that level like you two are, or like she is. But you still want to have something. Like you said, you want a guy to be able to lead and show that, you know, he has something that he believes in, that he follows. But I just was wondering, because like I said, in the past, I've met women that said that, you know, literally like, no, you don't have no faith to me if you don't believe in God. So why would I want a guy that don't have faith or believe in something? You know, so like I said, I respected it. I didn't totally agree with it, but I respect any woman or man that would tell their significant person they're trying to be with, like, you got to have some kind of belief going forward. Because what do you believe in? What do you stand for? What, you know what I mean? What represents you? What defines you? So I think that is important in a sense, because I think some of these people running around here in these relationships, and these young ones mainly, don't have that, don't go to church, never believed in it, or don't follow. So they just running around randomly doing, and that's why they kind of lost, because they have no spiritual guidance, no kind of guidance of a superior being to give them that that even still what you need. You got to have a little bit of that in you, in my opinion. So,
you know, that's interesting to bring that up, because I'll touch that next week, because it's going to be more the objective side of it. But it talks about how the young generation, I think from 12 years ago, it has declined over like almost 20% as far as the young generation that's actually believe in
Right.
church or believe in God or believe in anything spiritual. So
Mhm.
it's definitely on a decline.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that next week.
All right. Good.
So I'm just going to say in closing again, beautiful people, the stuff that we talked about today is our subjective views on religion versus spirituality. So by no means this is not us saying that what we believe is the truth or how everybody should think. We're just merely talking about how we feel religion versus spirituality is from our as Mark said, lens. So hope everybody enjoyed it. Definitely tune in next week. Well, not next week, for the next episode, which would be religion versus spirituality, the objective side of it. So y'all enjoy your week. Remember, a thought becomes a belief, and a belief becomes your manifestation. Right. So till then.
Wait, man. Before you peace out, I just want to say this. I'm sorry. I know you usually say it in the opening. I'm gonna say it in the closing, like you always say. Guys, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. My thing is, this is my saying. It's better to say something than nothing. If you have something, everybody has something to say, but not nothing. So if you feel like, oh, I don't need to comment, even if you just say something, hey, I liked it, it was interesting, give us that feedback, because it's going to help both of us grow, but it shows interaction. It shows that you are in tune to the podcast. So guys, again, just like, subscribe, and comment. It don't have to be a long paragraph, but just show us that y'all are in tune, because this is a deep subject and everybody got something to say about religion. So on that note, y'all have a great day, great week. STS is my motto. Stay focused, trust your process, and most of all, stay consistent. That's across the board, anything you're doing in your life. Y'all take care.
All right.
See you guys next week.
Peace.
They wonders of the world, they monsters. The twin Tompkins brought our only born. They travel the world stopping at the break of dawn daily. The iron's pumping. I bring you no brothers, about to bring you their life. Look no further, everybody, cause it's day and night. Let's go.